Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India, and this is the show to start your day with the top news stories of the day. I'm Priyanshi Sharma, and our lead story for this morning. Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, have condemned remarks on Prophet Muhammad made by two BJP leaders. There are also calls to boycott Indian products on Arab Twitter. The controversy erupted amid Vice President Venkaiah Naidu's tour of Qatar in a bid to bolster trade. Saudi Arabia described BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma's comments as insulting and called for respect for beliefs and religions, according to a foreign ministry statement. Riyadh is the latest to condemn the remarks. Qatar, Kuwait and Iran summoned the Indian envoy on Sunday amid widespread calls on social media for a boycott of Indian goods in the Gulf. The comments purportedly insulting the Prophet were made by the BJP's national spokesperson Nupur Sharma during a TV debate last week in a backdrop of a series of communal incidents across the country. A second leader, Naveen Jindal, posted a tweet about the Prophet, which he later deleted amid escalating outrage. Indian ambassadors, however, dismissed them as fringe elements. The BJP too suspended Nupur Sharma from the party, and a communication to her from the party's disciplinary committee said she has expressed views contrary to the party's position on various matters, which is in clear violation of its constitution. And moving on, the Enforcement Directorate this morning conducted raids at the residence of Delhi Minister Satyendar Jain days after his arrest in a money laundering case. This is as per sources who have told NDTV. The ED team reached Jain's house around 7 a.m. this morning. Meanwhile, Jain is in ED's custody till the 9th of June. The probe agency, which investigates financial crimes, alleged that the minister in the Kejriwal government was involved in the Hawala transactions case with a Kolkata-based firm in 2015-16. AAP leader Sanjay Singh alleged the minister has been arrested now to defame the party ahead of the Himachal Pradesh Assembly polls. And moving on, in an unfortunate incident, 7 people, including 3 children, drowned while bathing in a river in the Cuddalore district of Tamil Nadu yesterday. The tragedy happened after they ventured into a deeper area near a check dam and got stuck in the sand. Investigation is on, and Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has condoled the loss of lives and has announced a relief of 5 lakh to the family of those who lost their lives. Let's go across to Sam for more on this. Sam, a tragic incident there, and we've also seen M.K. Stalin condoling deaths as 7 people have died. So what's the status today, and where is the investigation?
Well, at the moment, Priyanshi, investigation is on, and the cause, they said, 2 groups of families from 2 different villages went to this place as part of a river near a check dam to bathe in the river. And as they walked towards a deeper area, what they call as a pit near the check dam, they lost control and they got stuck in the sand underneath, and that's how first a few people got trapped, and then the others who went to rescue them, they also got stuck, and that's how the numbers increased. And investigation is underway, and Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has condoled, has announced a relief of 5 lakh rupees relief for each of the families of those who lost their lives. And at this point, we don't have much information beyond what has been reported.
Right.
Whether this could have been averted, was it a prohibited area? That's something authorities are now investigating, and we'll have more clarity on that during the course of the day.
Right. Thanks, Sam, for joining us with those details. And moving on to news from Uttarakhand, 26 people were killed and 2 critically injured after a bus carrying pilgrims fell into a gorge in Uttarakhand on Sunday. The bus with 28 passengers was on its way to Yamunotri, which is a major pilgrim spot in the hill state. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed condolences to those who have lost their loved ones in the accident. He also announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees each for the families of those who lost their lives in the accident and 50,000 rupees each for the injured. The pilgrims were from Madhya Pradesh.
कल की दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण और अत्यंत दुखद घटना के बाद जो बेहतर हो सकता था करने के प्रयास किए हैं। घायलों का उपचार जारी है और घटना स्थल से हमने पार्थिव शरीर पोस्टमार्टम के बाद देहरादून रवाना कर दिए हैं। 10 बजे तक ये पार्थिव शरीर देहरादून पहुंचेंगे। वहाँ एम्बॉर्मिंग की जाएगी ताकि हम उनको जल्दी मध्य प्रदेश पन्ना उनके गांव रवाना कर सकें, क्योंकि सड़क मार्ग से दूरी बहुत ज़्यादा है और सड़क मार्ग से भेजने में काफ़ी समय लगता और इसलिए हमने एयरफोर्स के विमान पार्थिव शरीर ले जाने के लिए मांगे हैं।
And Anurag joins us for more on this story. Anurag, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is in Uttarakhand to take stock of the situation. What can we expect out of this visit and what can we expect in terms of a probe and action?
Yes, and one of the most tragic accidents on the Char Dham Yatra route, this bus had 30 people, 28 tourists and the driver and the helper. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, along with Additional Chief Secretary Home Rajesh Rajora and Minister for Mineral Resources and Labour Brajendra Pratap Singh, who is from Panna district itself, along with 4 senior officials, have already reached there on Sunday night to monitor relief and rescue operations. He also reached to the accident site early in the morning along with the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami. These tourists were from Powai in Panna district, which comes under Panna district, and they have reached Dehradun on 2nd of June. They started their journey on 21st of May, but extremely tragic and unfortunate incident. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is in Dehradun to coordinate and monitor relief and rescue operations, and he has said that the government will do everything necessary, for the relief and rescue operations of these tourists who have gone there and met in one of the most tragic accidents on the Char Dham Yatra route.
Right, so a very unfortunate incident there. Thanks, Anurag, for joining us with those details. And from Uttarakhand now to Uttar Pradesh. A man has been hospitalized in Badaun in Uttar Pradesh after alleged torture by the police. His family has alleged that they had to bribe the police to secure his release, and the officers demanded that they maintain silence. A senior police official in Badaun has admitted that the allegations against the local police are prima facie correct. 4 policemen have been suspended and a case of assault has been filed against them. The man was picked up by the police last month in connection with a case of theft. He was allegedly aiding a group of cattle smugglers.
जांच में प्रथम दृष्टया आरोपी की पुष्टि पाते हुए एक अभियोग थाना अलापुर में पंजीकृत हुआ। तत्कालीन चौकी इंचार्ज ककराला और 4 आरक्षी के विरुद्ध रेलेवेंट सेक्शंस में, और इसका विभागीय कार्रवाई का आदेश भी वरिष्ठ पुलिस अधीक्षक महोदय द्वारा दिया गया है। बाकी विवेचनात्मक कार्रवाई थाना स्तर पर की जा रही है।
हमारे लेबर के काम पैसे अलविदा वाले दिन आए 3 तारीख को 2 तारीख को पैसे लेने गए कॉलोनी में, तो पुलिस वालों ने पकड़ लिया इन्हें पूछी ने बताई इतना मारा कुछ देवेगा इन्हें तक लगाएंगे गलत कामों पर आने के साथ नाम है। हमारे देवर के साथ 100 रुपए दे दिया कि ले अपना इलाज करा दिया जाएगा।
And moving on, a teenager, the fourth accused in the Hyderabad gang rape case, has been taken into custody. The Hyderabad police said the fifth accused is still on the run and a search is on to trace him. Now, this comes a day after two others were apprehended for allegedly raping the girl. One of them is the son of a local leader of Chief Minister Chandrasekhar Rao's Telangana Rashtra Samiti party, which is the TRS. The case has, however, taken a political turn, with both the BJP and the Congress holding protests alleging a cover-up by the police. A BJP leader has released a video clip and photographs alleging the presence of an AIMIM MLA's son in the car with the survivor around the area where she was sexually assaulted. Here's a report.
A fourth accused, a teenager, has been arrested by the police in the gang rape case of a minor girl in Hyderabad last Saturday. The fifth accused, identified as Umair Khan, is absconding. This, even as the BJP has demanded handing over the case to the CBI, alleging that there is suspected involvement of the son of a MIM MLA and the grandson of a Telangana minister, both of which has been denied by the police.
Police are admitting there is a sexual offence against the minor girl. She is a minor. Second thing, they are accepting. There are certain politically influenced personalities are there. This is also admitted by the police. They are also admitting that there are two vehicles are participated in the incident. Now it is your duty to make an impartial investigation. This is what the public are demanding. You do the impartial investigation. That is what BJP is demanding.
The police have recovered the Innova in which the gang rape allegedly took place. It is said to have been allotted to the TRS leader, whose minor son is among those accused and taken into custody. Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan has asked for a detailed report within 2 days on the gang rape case from the Chief Secretary and the State Police Chief. The National Commission for Protection of Child Rights has questioned the 3-day delay in registering of FIR and has also asked for a case to be booked against the pub for allowing minors. In Hyderabad, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Welcome back. Let's get you political news now. Last minute suspense over SP Lok Sabha bypoll candidates. Last date for nominations for Azamgarh and Rampur Lok Sabha seats is today, and both seats are SP strongholds. No candidates have been announced by the Samajwadi Party for both the seats yet, so the suspense still continues. The Azamgarh seat is vacated by SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav, while the Rampur seat by senior leader Azam Khan. Now, question is, will Azamgarh seat be fought for ex-MP Akhilesh Yadav's wife, or will we see some other turn of events? Let's go across to Alok Pandey, who joins us for more on the story. Alok, so two important seats that have been the Samajwadi Party's strongholds have some suspense over who's going to be fielded.
Well, you're right. I think the question one would ask is who benefits even within the Samajwadi Party by keeping their cards so close to their chest that even on the last day of the nominations, they have not declared candidates. The BJP, as you would remember, has already gone ahead and declared candidates for both Azamgarh and Rampur. They lost both seats in 2019. So these are Samajwadi Party strongholds. But they've made the first move. The Bahujan Samaj Party is not contesting the Rampur seat, but they have also declared a very heavyweight candidate for the Azamgarh seat. So that leaves us with the Samajwadi Party, who are the incumbents on both seats, and yet we don't have names. Now, unofficially or through sources, we are being told that the Rampur seat will be fought by Tanzim Fatima, a former MLA, Rajya Sabha member, and also the wife of Azam Khan. And this, of course, the background would be that this would come in the middle of, the supposed frosty ties between Akhilesh Yadav, the Samajwadi Party chief, and Azam Khan. Remember that both of them met in a Delhi hospital where Azam was admitted just a few days ago. So that's as far as Rampur goes on. Azamgarh, it's interesting because, we started with a complete outsider who was first, sources said that this person would be the candidate, a gentleman by the name of Sushil Anand, who is from an SC community. Then we heard that it could be Dimple Yadav, the former Kannauj MP, and also the wife of Akhilesh Yadav. We heard that she could be contesting because Akhilesh Yadav would want to keep that seat within the Desai family from where he is. And now we hear that it's going to be Harvendra Yadav, the former Badaun MP, and somebody who's related to Akhilesh Yadav, his cousin, I believe. So it now emerges that it's going to be Harvendra Yadav who's going to contest. But again, this is two sources, and again the question that one would ask is, who benefits? I mean, how is it that on the last day of nomination, the party has still not even managed to announce its candidates? And this is something that perhaps the opposition could use to point to the confusion within the Samajwadi Party. But like all regional parties, perhaps the last word in the Samajwadi Party also is with Akhilesh Yadav, and only he knows why this is happening, and we haven't heard anything from him about the lead.
Right. Thanks, Alok, for joining us with those details. And moving on, in what can be seen as a representation of how many migrant workers were forced to flee during the pandemic, the Saharanpur District Administration has auctioned 5,400 bicycles left behind by migrant workers from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar while rushing home during the nationwide lockdown in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. A senior official aware of the development told NDTV. NDTV's Ravish Shukla brings us this ground report.
Thousands of bicycles seized from labourers in Corona lockdown are lying like junk in a deserted ground in Saharanpur. The labourers never returned to collect these, probably because they feared the administration or didn't have money to travel back here. Jitendra, a Saharanpur contractor, bought the bicycles, but he has his own complaint against the government.
जी वैसे तो लगभग सब कबाड़ हैं, लेकिन कोई अच्छी निकल जाती है तो हम ग्राहक से 1000-1200 तक की मांग करते हैं जी। अच्छा। बाकी ग्राहक के जेब में कोई 500, कोई 700, कोई 800 दे देते हैं।
तो लगता है कि आपका ये जो साइकिल जो आपने जो ठेका लिया है, जी, कितना इसमें आपको नुकसान है या फायदा है?
जी साहब, हमें तो इसमें मुझे तो लगता है हमारे भाई साहब कुछ बचने की बजाय सब टूट जाएंगे पैसे, क्योंकि सब कबाड़ हो चुके हैं 2-3 साल में।
During the lockdown, a large number of labourers started migrating from Punjab, Haryana and Himachal on bicycle. Why did Saharanpur become the hub of migrating labourers? It's because the borders of 3 states meet here. The administration brought the labourers migrating from Punjab, Haryana and Himachal here. 2 years ago, the administration was stopping the migrant labourers like this. During this, their bicycles were confiscated and they were quarantined. Then they were sent by bus and train, but their cycles remained with the government. The pictures of workers suffering in the Corona lockdown must have been blurred in your eyes now. But even after the end of the lockdown, the lives of the workers are still scattered like these cycles. After the pandemic, now there are government claims that everything is good. On the other hand, these cycles remain a symbol of the massive exodus of labourers. With Ravish Ranjan Shukla and Ashok Kashyap from Saharanpur, Usama Shah for NDTV.
And getting you international news now, amid rising gun violence in the United States, President Joe Biden has called for a ban on assault rifles. He said, "We can't fail the American people again."
After a string of mass shootings, Joe Biden has said the US should ban assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines to tackle the carnage of gun violence after declaring that everyday places in America had become killing fields.
Innocent victims murdered in a classroom that have been turned into a killing field. Standing there in that small town, like so many other communities across America, I couldn't help but think there are too many other schools, too many other everyday places that have become killing fields, battlefields here in America.
Biden called for expanding federal background checks and nationwide red flag laws, which allow law enforcement to remove weapons from anyone deemed dangerous. But the chief provision is that it would increase the age from 18 to 21 for the purchase of semi-automatic rifles. But even as he prepared to speak, multiple people were shot in an attack at a cemetery in Wisconsin. Moreover, with nearly all Republicans in opposition, the House action will mostly be symbolic, merely putting lawmakers on record about gun control ahead of this year's elections. Many Republican senators and their constituents are deeply wedded to gun rights as part of conservative and rural culture. Although the House can pass bills without any Republican support, GOP backing in the Senate is crucial for any measure to have a chance to become a law. But the past few weeks have been bloody even by the standards of recent years, creating a sense among many from across the political spectrum that the US faces a far-reaching crisis, even if Americans differ on its nature and causes. Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV.
And with this, we slip into a very short break. But coming up, India's COVID cases are rising. And Maharashtra recorded its highest cases since January 30th. Stay with us to find out the reason for the sharp rise, whether this is a fourth wave, the symptoms to look out for, and how you can keep yourself and your family safe. Welcome back. And the COVID cases in India are rising. India has reported over 4,500 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. And with this, India has recorded over 4,000 cases for the second straight day. These cases are up from the average of 2,000 to 3,000 cases that were recorded in the month of May. The positivity rate is also up at 1.62% versus 1.03% on the previous day. And there are currently 25,782 active COVID cases in India. So that's a sign for you to not take your masks off just yet. And a state in concern at this point is Maharashtra. Maharashtra is witnessing a sharp rise in COVID infections. Over 1,000 new cases were recorded on Sunday, which is the highest the state has seen since January 30th. Mumbai city is the biggest contributor to the overall cases, accounting for almost 60% of the state's total cases. Several Bollywood actors have tested positive for the virus in recent times, including Shah Rukh Khan and Katrina Kaif. Aditya Thackeray, who is also the Maharashtra Environment and Tourism Minister, said the state could be seeing the fourth wave of the COVID pandemic while urging people not to panic.
हम देख रहे हैं कि ये शायद चौथी वेव है, लेकिन इसमें डरने की बात नहीं है, पैनिक होने की बात नहीं है। जो भी हम कह रहे हैं, सिर्फ यही कह रहे हैं कि मास्क लगा के घूमो। अभी तक हमने मास्क लगाना कंपलसरी किया नहीं है, लेकिन शायद वो समय आ सकता है। अभी यही है कि हम खुद की जो हम कहते हैं कि अगर आपको बाहर जाना हो, कहीं लोगों से मिलना हो, तो मास्क पहन के घूमिए, अपना बूस्टर डोज लीजिए, यही हम सबसे कह रहे हैं।
Now, to understand the concern at this point, we have a guest joining us on the broadcast, Dr. Rahul Pandit, who is a member of the National COVID Task Force. He's also a member of the Maharashtra COVID Task Force and Director of Critical Care at Fortis Hospitals in Mumbai. So, welcome to the discussion. Now, with the rising cases, there is a concern of whether we're actually witnessing a fourth wave. Aditya Thackeray is saying that the state could be seeing a fourth wave, but the concern going well beyond Maharashtra as well. Do you think Maharashtra is in a fourth wave, or perhaps the country at large could be seeing one very soon?
Good morning. So there is no doubt that some of the districts in Maharashtra have been seeing a silent rise in the cases. And why the reason I'm using this word silent is because majority of the patients have been actually asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. Now, whether to actually call that as a wave or not, I think it's just the play of words. We could be basically saying that the cases are rising and we need to control these cases as quickly as possible. And that is how I would like to put it across. To call it as a wave or not is, I think, a game of numbers. Somebody might say that the current numbers are actually a wave. Somebody might say we might want to wait for some more time to see whether it is rising or not. Right. I think the reality is that some of the districts are showing a rise and we should quickly act upon that and try to control these numbers.
Right. So, as you said, some of the districts are witnessing a rise, and we've seen from our experience with the previous waves, it always begins from one or two states, from Maharashtra or Kerala. So, do you think other states could also follow, and the guard in other states also needs to be more stricter at this point, considering this as a sign?
So in the last 2 years, we've always consistently sent one message across that COVID has not gone yet. Yes, the numbers of cases had gone down considerably, and people need to still be vigilant and keep a lookout on the rising in cases. So once we see a cluster or a particular district showing a rise in cases, it is up to us to go back to our basics, increase the testing there. Make sure that people are wearing a mask at least in the indoor areas where the air circulation is poor, because that has got good data to show that in indoor with poor air circulation, offices, auditoriums, those are the places where we should be wearing a mask definitely, and it should be becoming as a voluntary health habit. I don't even want to talk about whether it should be made compulsory or not, because how to implement that is the government's decision. But from a doctor's point of view, I can say that we should make it as a health habit. Just like when we cross a road, we look on our right and left and then we cross our road. We should be careful of our own health and wear a mask when we are indoors, when the air circulation is in question. Can same thing be said about outdoors? Well, in open air, ventilated places, perhaps the transmission is not that high. So the same data does not exist for outdoor places where the air circulation is very good. But even in outdoor congregations of crowds, it would be worthwhile to wear a mask, because that's where the people would be in the close proximity. And cities like Mumbai or Delhi or Chennai, which are metropolitan cities where the density of population is high, we should be wearing a mask whenever we are in a congregated place.
Right. So, Dr. Pandit, also, as you talked about the government taking measures and people making it a habit, but to control this habit, we've seen that there have been large gatherings recently, and those could be one of the reasons increasing the worry of the spread. So, do you think the government should now bring back some of those measures that were earlier put in place to control the curve, possibly limiting the gatherings and putting up mask mandates again?
Again, I think one of the things which has been repeatedly talked about by us is that we have to live with COVID for some more time. Nobody can say whether it's going to be 1 year, 2 years. We have to accept that COVID is within us, and we have to continue having our normal day-to-day life with the due precautions. So all of these gatherings, as long as COVID appropriate behavior and COVID appropriate protocols are being followed, I think we should not be saying that we should put curb on this or that. We should continue with our normal day-to-day activity. Yes, don't go out of the way and out of the board to try and sort of have a crowd which would not be necessary. But whatever is necessary, whatever is important, I think that those activities should continue.
Right. So normal activities should continue, but of course with the necessary precautions. But to also understand this surge, Doctor, what do you think triggered this surge now? We've been without masks for months now, ever since Omicron wave had passed us since the month of January. We've been without masks. So why do you think this recent surge has sparked now?
So virus obviously has got a cycle of its own. It sort of has a lull period of few months and then it probably comes back up again. And what we are seeing is that the genome sequencing which has been done by the government of India as well as the government of Maharashtra is thankfully showing us only the Omicron and its sublineages like BA1, BA2, and recently we found some BA4, BA5 as well. So as long as we don't have a new variant, and we have just the different lineages of the same variant right now, I think we know that these cases are most likely going to be mild. But what we need to do is we need to keep a very close eye on the genome sequencing. I think that's going to be a center pillar for us, because as soon as we identify that we have a different species or a different variant or a different type of symptoms coming across, that's where we need to be extra vigilant as doctors. We need to bring that to the quick notice, and we need to then take up very strict precautions. So those areas where we have a different variant which might be seen emerging, which could be different from the current variant which is in circulation.
Right. Dr. Pandit, you mentioned variants, which are, of course, a concern. So do you think, just to make this clear, do you think the current surge is being completely driven by Omicron again, and all the symptoms that we're seeing for now are mild?
So at the moment, hospitalizations are very, very low. Hardly any people are there in the hospital as well as in the ICUs or on the oxygen beds. And we have seen a similar trend when the Omicron wave was there in January. And whatever genome sequencing reports we are getting, it is showing Omicron and its variants only. So right now there is no indication to say that we have a different variant. Of course, a few cases are there which are of Kappa and other variants which were there before, but they are very, they're in single digits probably. Most of the variants most of the cases which are there are Omicron and its variants only.
Right, so that is a relief that for now we're at least not seeing a new variant. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandit, for joining us on this conversation and getting us more clarity on this recent surge.
Thank you.
And moving on to our top story this morning, Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, have condemned remarks on Prophet Muhammad made by two BJP leaders. There are also calls to boycott Indian products on Arab Twitter. The controversy erupted amid Vice President Venkaiah Naidu's tour of Qatar in a bid to bolster trade. Saudi Arabia described BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma's comments as insulting and called for respect for beliefs and religions. Riyadh is the latest to condemn the remarks. Qatar, Kuwait and Iran summoned the Indian envoy on Sunday amid widespread calls on social media for a boycott of Indian goods in the Gulf. The comments purportedly insulting the Prophet were made by the BJP's national spokesperson Nupur Sharma during a TV debate last week in the backdrop of a series of communal incidents across the country. A second leader, Naveen Jindal, posted a tweet about the Prophet, which he later deleted amid escalating outrage. Indian ambassadors, however, dismissed them as fringe elements. The BJP too suspended Nupur Sharma from the party. A communication to her from the party's disciplinary committee said she has expressed views contrary to the party's position on various matters, which is in clear violation of its constitution. Let's go across to my colleague Parmeshwar Bava for more on this. Parmeshwar, huge outrage from Gulf countries. What can you tell us about the reactions we're getting from these countries?
Thanks, Priyanshi. India has actually been facing a lot of international embarrassment at the moment. Hours after action against Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal, who were removed as BJP spokespersons, India responded to official notes by Kuwait and Qatar and Iran over the controversy linked to the leaders' comments against Prophet Muhammad and his wife, which have led to objections in these three nations, and also with Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Oman. Now, Saudi Arabia has officially objected to these comments. A tweet by their foreign ministry read, "The Ministry of Foreign Affairs expresses its condemnation and denunciation of the statements made by the spokeswoman of the Indian BJP, which insults the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him." Now, the tweets by Naveen Jindal and Nupur Sharma do not in any manner reflect the views of the government of India. These are the views of fringe elements. This is what the Indian embassies in Qatar and Kuwait have said. Both the nations have welcomed the action against these two leaders. In Iran, the Indian ambassador to Iran was summoned to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs by the Director General of South Asia late last evening, where he expressed regret and called any insult to the Prophet of Islam absolutely unacceptable. Now, it's crucial to note that Qatar's official protest came at a time when Vice President Venkaiah Naidu was in the country for an official visit. The Kingdom of Bahrain, meanwhile, has welcomed the decision of the Indian BJP to suspend the party spokeswoman, stressing the need to denounce any reprehensible abuses against the messenger as a provocation to Muslim feelings and incitement to religious hatred. Now, these reactions make it quite clear that such vile rhetoric has the potential to severely damage some of India's most crucial ties.
Right, Parmeshwar. Thanks for getting us all of those details. It's definitely a moment of embarrassment for India with these comments coming in from Gulf nations. Now, moving on, it's time to slip into a very short break. But coming up, Nadal makes it to slam number 22 in 2022. We'll get you all the highlights on the other side. And Victorian cakes are known to draw attention, but this one is truly special. As part of the grand finale celebrations for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, Commonwealth nations are coming together to present a 6-meter-long Bollywood-themed cake to showcase the wedding of the Queen 75 years ago. Hundreds of dancers will perform to Bollywood music as the cake moves on the streets of central London. Indian origin artists are leading this effort termed People's Pageant. Top artists including Ed Sheeran will perform near the Buckingham Palace. My colleague Radhika Iyer from London brings us this report.
Bollywood in London, not a novel concept at all, but here during the grand finale of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations in central London, 250 dancers are going to move along with a 19 feet long Bollywood-themed cake. This particular effort is being put up by British Indians, also Commonwealth nations. I have with me some Bollywood fans. Before I go across to them, a little bit about this cake. Hey, hi. There's this Bollywood-themed cake which is being prepared by ingredients from all Commonwealth nations. There's going to be 250 dancers, like I said, from Manchester, Leicester, Southampton, Newcastle, just various cities as well as London, who are going to dance along with this moving cake. Now, you guys are here for Bollywood?
Yeah, we love Bollywood.
And what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be jumping in, dancing in, or just watching the fun?
If we get a chance, we are jumping in.
Yeah. What are you? Are you a student here?
I'm a student, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Pune in Maharashtra. Right now I'm in Nottingham Trent University doing psychology.
Okay. And you're loving the 4-day holiday?
Yeah, love it.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm working with Capgemini UK and I work for Morgan Stanley. But until last year I was a student here for the Brunel University, London. I did my data science from there.
Now, what's your current Bollywood favorite?
Salman Khan is our favorite all-time hit.
Okay, so
he's a great fan of Salman Khan.
I don't
you
remember
don't have
any
a favorite.
songs.
It's so hard to have one single favorite. A grammar school student, wonderful. Students are loving it and they're loving this huge holiday break that they have. This is the grand finale, like I said, the 4th day of the event that has been put up in great grandeur. As you can see behind me, people from various centers are walking down. Actually, they're heading to Hyde Park. They're heading to Hyde Park because the mall is very full. The mall is just off Buckingham Palace, which is absolutely full. And if you can see behind me on the streets, if you see far behind me, there are flags decorating central London. This is like a festival, which is unprecedented, like never before. The celebrations are happening in central London and all across Britain. Party at homes, on streets, in parks, in the skies when the armed forces were trooping colour in 70-odd aircrafts. So a big festival celebrating 70 years of Queen Elizabeth on the throne. She turns 96 and with that she finishes 70 years, which makes her the oldest and the longest serving monarch. Radhika Iyer from London, NDTV.
Time now to meet a man from Bengaluru who quite simply loves sparrows. Edwin Joseph is Bengaluru's sparrow man and he misses the birds that were once found in the thousands in the IT city but are now very rarely seen. He has made his home a safe corner for the little creatures and would like everyone to do their bit to help the chirps of the sparrow be heard again across the city. He is Lotto Land's Aaj Ka Sitara and Lotto Land will support his cause with a cash incentive of 1 lakh rupees.
Edwin Joseph, making sure his house is ready for some much-loved guests. Some food to their taste. And even a place to make their home, should they decide to stay a bit longer. And Edwin's warm invitation has been accepted. This little sparrow is a rare bird in Bengaluru these days. But Edwin's house has these special visitors every single day.
During my childhood or my younger age, I see a lot of sparrows around Bangalore. Even school, after my marriage also, we had a nest inside a bedroom. Sparrows to come inside out because we were living in tile house those days. Now Bangalore has turned out to be a concrete jungle. Trees have been chopped, lakes have disappeared, lakes have become layouts. Water for the birds to drink. We said we'll also start providing. I told my wife is to clean grain in the compound, the broken rice to fall. A lot of birds used to sit near our feet and eat. So I told my wife, hey, throw one more handful, man, let them enjoy.
The birds knew they were welcome and hundreds used to come to Edwin's house each day.
It started increasing, then I started keeping water in the plate. It was sufficient for them. So I made it 3 plates where they come and swim, roll, drink water and go. Even the other birds also started coming now. We love them. Where will they go if they don't get food? I had more than 200 sparrows in the premise where sparrows did not have a place to sit. It was so much congested. And now it's reduced because the problem of cell phone towers. Moreover, I lost my wife and I was not here for 8 months. I was not able to take care. I am back now. The sparrows are coming now slowly.
What can other Bengalurians do to bring the sparrows back?
People bring the children to my house and then they bring them inside. They show this is Sparrow. Where is that level now? We serve some grain in a terrace, balcony and veranda. Keep water for the birds.
Sparrows were once found all over Bengaluru, but now it is very rare to hear their chirp in the big city. Edwin Joseph is doing what he can to make sure the little birds know that they are still very welcome. With DM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
I appreciate and thank the organization Lotel and for all the support they are giving.